Hello, everyone. I'm super happy to have Jumoke Dada here with me at FemInno podcast series. I will ask Jumoke to introduce yourself. Who are you?
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Jumoke Dada, and I come from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm the founder of Taylor. Taylor is an e-commerce furniture and lifestyle brand based in Lagos, Nigeria, and Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay, what you are doing with Taylor?
For me, I started Taylor majorly because, I wanted, to create a brand where Africans can identify with something. And for me, being an architect by profession, furniture was one of the easiest way for me to express myself, right? And, it was trying to, leverage local resources, things in Africa, because the furniture industry across Africa is the same. It's majorly importation from outside of Africa, US, China. But I didn't like that, and I wanted to change that. I wanted to create a change, and basically that was why I founded the brand, and luckily like a lot of people love it. So
Okay, so can I say that you have reached your dream or realized your dream? Have you dreamed about something like this as you are now to become?
To be honest, as a younger woman, maybe in my teenage years, I just wanted to get a job and just work somewhere. I never really dreamt of owning a business. Maybe my dad sowed the seed into me one time when he came to see me in uni, and it was like, oh, I know you have to practice as an architect, but I think you should also think of having a business on the side. And I'm like, I really don't care right now. But I won't say I've reached where I want to be. I've not even started yet, because like I always say, you see big brands come from America, Europe, and all these other places, but you don't see brands come from Africa compete on an international stage. You see French furniture brands like Roche Bobois, you see IKEA coming from Sweden, you see all these big brands coming from Africa, but there's really no brand coming like from Africa to say this is an African brand that started in Africa and it's on the global stage. In Africa we have that for music, and I've been hearing lots of Armenians listen to Nigerian music, but we really need to have that for things that tangible physical things too as well.
Can we say then that it's not only about dreams from childhood, and sometimes during the life it's also about the process and the decisions you make?
Yeah, I think it's solely, and also exposure and expanding your mind. Yeah, basically.
Okay, why tech needs women, if it needs?
Uh, when it comes to tech, even for me when I was a teenager and I didn't even get to know about tech till I was 23, sadly. Yeah, and it's just because maybe topics like that are not brought forward to women. But I know as a teenager, know at some point I was going to get married, but at some point no one told me, oh, these are like options for interesting topics or courses you could do. And I think like women should, be exposed to all of these things at a much more younger age. And the reason I feel we don't have most women in tech right now is because even at a much more younger age, they are not exposing them to it. And I think I really like what FemInno is doing, because I was at the conference and I saw a lot of young girls, knowing about tech and all of that. And I think the more we begin to like tell a lot of young girls, especially at their teenage years, all of these things, the more, would have like more women in tech.
Okay, when we talk about equality, what do you think? What people do wrong when it comes to equality? Why don't we have equality in the world?
When it comes to equality, I think there's a misconception about what people think equality is, especially around women. So when women say we want equality, they see it as you are being rebellious. They see it as you want to have more power. They see it as you want to be superior. But I'm not just trying to do that. I don't want to be more powerful. I just want an opportunity to express myself and give me the same opportunities you give to men. I want to get the same level access to level of funding that men get. I want to have the same access to level of education that men get. And it's really about just giving me a chance, not really about me being superior. And I think when, the whole world gets to understand that it's not really about women wanting to be superior or wanting to be gods, then they would get to understand that, equality is really about giving everybody a chance.
What is the situation in your part of the world, and maybe specifically in Nigeria, about technology, women participation, and equality in general?
I think in the early stage of tech in Nigeria, so around 2015, 2013, it was still in the we're still in the early stages still, but it was more or less like we had like more males, guys, raising funds from YC, raising funds from all of these places. But later on, then emergence of, more women getting into tech, right? Owning businesses and seeing all of these women voice out. And, when one of them gets to raise funds, so like, we had a woman which I really admire. She laid a cable from Portugal to Nigeria just for Nigerians to have access to very good internet. For a woman like that, young women like me, seeing someone like that, gave me that, motivation to say, I can do it. And she raised like hundreds of millions of dollars, right? And seeing people like that, become successful now in Nigeria, for instance, we now have more women VCs who are also like writing checks to women and all of that. So like the ecosystem is growing, but it needs more successful women to back women.
Yeah, and I'm super happy to say and confirm that from the feedbacks we got from FemInno, there are really very many young Armenian girls who looked up to you as a role model with your success story.
Yeah.
Going back to equality and discrimination, and is it more often men discriminating women, or sometimes it's also about women having imposter syndrome that brings us to inequality?
I think it's both. And I will also like share my experience from, the time I was fundraising. There's this part where, this old man tells the committee and say, oh, she's a young girl. I don't think she's serious. But you also have like the older women to say stuff like, yeah, we think it's true. She's still young and she might not be able to do that. You don't blame the women because, they were raised that way, they were bred that way. So, when you've believed something all your life, when you see something new, it's not like you deliberately want to oppose it, but it's just that it's something subtle that it happens, subconsciously, right? And I think like the bias is more subconscious than something that people deliberately want to do, because I feel like it's been like that for ages. It's been like that since the inception of the world, in a way, and they feel it should just be like that. So I think it's more subconscious than something that people deliberately do. Sometimes you don't even know you are being biased towards.
Do you consider yourself a leader, a successful leader? And if yes, then how it is to be one?
To be honest, the way I see myself, I won't say, so, success is subjective. It depends on the way you see it. For me, I feel like I still have a very long way to go, like very far, yeah. And I just want like people and the world to get to see my journey and my story, and maybe in that way kind of help them also in their journey. Because for me, it was like I started from the scratch, no money, no support, and trying to build something. I'm on a mission, I would say. So I wouldn't say I'm successful yet or anything. I would just say I'm on a mission, I'm on a quest. I don't know where the road leads.
You are talking about the journey. How would you describe your journey to those who would like to learn from it?
I would say my journey is a journey story of persistence, resilience, and doggedness. And I would say like growing up where, at some point I had to, skip classes to go to work just for me to make extra money, like to work in school. starting a business that's supposed to be capital intensive with zero capital, having to go through the struggle of raising funds from investors who are men, as a young person also trying to lead a team. It's hard because, I haven't been formed into a full human yet. I'm still figuring a lot of things out. So it's really, tough where you have like lots of pressure on you because like everybody at work look up to you to be like, oh, she's the boss and she has to be good and perfect. But it's really like all through all my struggles and challenges, sometimes I've failed, so I wouldn't act like I'm a perfect person. I've failed, I've made mistakes. But one thing is very important: always stand up when you fall. And I think like that's like the most important thing and the mantra that I live. My mom, when I was younger, would tell me two things. She would say, tough times don't last, but tough people do. So even when things go bad and I'm crying, and sometimes I cry in my closet too, but I always remember the voice of my mom tell me, tough times don't last, but tough people do. And she always tell me, little drops of water make a mighty ocean. So even my little efforts every day, will add up into something bigger in the universe.
Wonderful. What do you see as the main barriers for women all around the world that keep them kind of behind in the shadow? What are those barriers usually?
I think it's their mind. It's
Of
their
women?
mind. Yeah, it's their mind. Because I was once like that. I was once told that all my aim in life is to study, get a good job, and get married. But there was a time in my life where I had to say and challenge my thought and say no. So me saying no, what do I have to do? To be honest, in my journey, I read a whole lot of books, right? I read a whole lot of books. There's a book that I would recommend. It's called As a Man Thinketh. If you read As a Man Thinketh, I think that will be the beginning of your journey because it opens your mind and expands your mind. And the moment your mind is expanded, then you would see a world of possibilities and things that can happen. And the moment women get to that point of eureka, yes, this is what I can be, this is what I can become, then limitations don't matter, the odds don't matter, what someone is telling you doesn't matter. You just go ahead and do it and achieve what you want to achieve, and just go ahead, and you will miss limitations and obstacles, but because your mind is so excited about what is in the future, you just keep going, and I think that's just me as a person.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if you have any challenges right now as I would say, established female professional. What are those your current challenges?
One of my major, the challenges that I have as a person. First of all, I think like I still wish like the society still gives me like more chance to be able to like express myself, right? So for instance, you are raising funds as a female founder. They are telling you, oh, you're trying to raise $10 million, is too much. You would squander the money, raise 2.5 or raise 1 million or do all of those things. So in a way, in as much as we really want to do a lot of stuff, and they're like, oh, there might be risk of execution here, she might not be able to execute. You still have all those biases, but in as much as all those things are still there, what keeps me going is I still need to celebrate the little wins that I have. But the issue is I still want the world to give me much more bigger chance, and still take bigger risk. And I think it's taking bigger risks.
Okay, and how are you overcoming those challenges? The challenge of taking bigger risks. How are you doing it?
What I basically do is I'll say you are not betting on me to take this much more bigger risk, but I will show you what I can do with little, and you see what I've done, then you're happy to give me more.
I see.
Yeah.
Jumoke, from your experience, I wonder if there is any tested way to inspire people to achieve what they can, especially when we talk about women. From your experience, would you give some, I would say, a solution to or a test to empowerment of women and inspiring them?
I think the first thing is, number one, women needs to see other women who are succeeding first, because it serves as an example for them to follow, right? For instance, we all want to see examples of people who have done well and how they've done it. And more women need to come out and tell their stories, because most times more women are always hiding. I used to hide before, but more women need to come out to tell their stories. And also, women who are like successful should try as much as possible to go back to inspire other women, to go back to support other women. And from what I've observed from my travels, the issue is not like we don't want to, more women are not in positions of power or more women are not at the table. The issue is women are silenced from the time they are kids. So when they don't even get that chance from the time they are kids, how would they even grow up to have a seat at the table or even have the opportunity to become leaders? You realize, I heard some stories of some girls like in their village, girls are not allowed to go to school. So if they don't go to school, how would they expand their minds? How would they even become leaders? So for me, it's really around, it's coming from the grassroots, it's coming from the source. And how do we inspire young girls from the source? How do we make young girls see very successful women at the global stage? And that way, when they see all those things, they aspire to want to be that. And guess what? They defy all odds. They defy what their parents tell them, and they go ahead and do what they need to do.
I agree totally with you. And my last question or request would be to share your experience in Armenia. This was your first time. You had the chance to participate in FemInno. You explored some places and also saw and met a lot of women, powerful people, and professionals. So what is your now opinion, perception, or experience? What would you tell others about Armenia and what you saw?
I love Armenia. I would say it loud. I love Armenia. And you know what? When I travel, I usually don't share pictures and videos with my mom. Because when I was coming to Armenia, see the way I'm so excited. Because when I was coming to Armenia and I was telling people in Nigeria that I'm going to Armenia, where is Armenia? I've never heard of Armenia before. I don't know what's going on. And I've been sharing videos. I'm oh, the food is great. The people are so friendly. I haven't seen any black person on the streets, but they are so warm to me. And during the tour, I would see people say, "Oh, can you please take pictures with my son?" I'm "Oh, is it because I'm..." Yeah, and I shared videos with my mom. My mom was "Oh, so where is this? Oh, it looks so beautiful. No, tell me more." But I was "Mom, you're asking me too many questions." And yeah, so I think right now, be a strong advocate for Armenia. Even when I get back to Lagos, I'm going to tell everyone I have lots of pictures and lots of videos I've been sharing on my story. People have been asking me on my Instagram, where's this? Yeah. So I'm really excited. I love the people. I hope maybe in some years' time I come back here with my family, just for them to explore the culture. But I'll really say, it was a great experience. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to the organizers of FemInno. Thank you to all the people, very supportive people, happy people. The food, good, I love Armenia, to be honest.
Wonderful. And I think this is the first but not last time you are here, and we will do our best to have you again and again, and also come to Nigeria one day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jumoke. It was nice having you here. And for everyone, we had Jumoke Dada from Nigeria at FemInno and in Yerevan in Armenia.
Thank you.